Islam and the hijab, the headscarf, and there are various interpretations. But I think what we should really focus on is these fatwas, which are usually targeted at women.
But what about the veil? No, we should persist with that, because the fatwa says that if a woman needs to work, she has to be veiled.
You're right, Sarika. You are absolutely right, Sarika.
Scholars throughout history have actually, Islamic scholars and Sufis have kept the requirement and the needs of the time.
So we should be veiled. Women should be veiled.
If a woman wants to study medicine, how does she really go to medical colleges are co-ed? So a lot of them are.
Why not, Sadia? Why not?
I'm not debating.
Of course, let us not debate it. But absolutely, there is no issue if the women.
I think relegating this is a plan almost like to relegate a woman to a life of servitude, to keep her away. Next you'll say she can't go to school. Next you'll say she can't. A patient can't go to a doctor. A female patient can't go to a doctor. There'll be fatwas and fatwas. And it's okay if it's pro-choice wearing a veil or not wearing a veil, but to say you cannot work unless and until.
It takes away from her employability. What if people don't want to employ you?
Which I'm sure it will.
Which it will.
By the way, why it will take? We have seen even the President of India, we have seen the kind of dress which normally the women won't wear. Have you ever objected to it? She put up the kind of...
How will you be a fighter pilot in a burqa?
Not the burqa. You can have the scarf and you can still have the fighter. What's the problem in it? We have the pilots in Pakistan.
But I think a woman has every right over her body, whether she wants to cover her head or not cover her head. I think it's all about a woman's sexuality. And religion so often is linked with that. And I think these men of faith must have faith in the word of Quran, in God, and in themselves. It's born of insecurity of some kind, not to allow women any kind of freedom whatsoever in terms of making decisions for herself and covering her body or not covering her body.
Nobody is stopping you to have any kind of dress or not. If you have to follow, if you say that you are a Muslim, if you follow Islam, then you have to live, both men and women have to be according to the Islamic laws only. If you want to be free, absolutely, nobody is stopping you.
I would love to see more fatwas telling men what to do. I would love to see more fatwas. And I wish our seminaries worked on giving women basic rights prescribed in the religion.
Mr. Kamal Farooqui, the problem always is that the elite women always get away with it. It's always the poor women who are subject to the
women don't work and they are thrown out. These seminaries are not going to look after them.
No, in fact,
a lot of women are kicked
need
out.
To work. If they don't have a husband,
themselves today. Things change, environments change. Interestingly, in the early Islam, even there was a fatwa that a loudspeaker was haram because it was a new thing. It was called bid'ah. Living that way, living in a defined walls or in brick houses was going to Hajj in planes. So the rulings have changed over the years. I mean, there is flexibility in Islam.
So why can't there be any flexibility?
Yes, there are requirements. Yes, there are flexibility. Yes, there are.
Choices should be with women. They should be
all these things are accepted.
And it's the duty of a seminary is to actually draw from the spirit of Islam, the essence of Islam, which exactly as you said is egalitarian, and also to maximize education and employment opportunities for men and women of Islam instead of taking away from them.
A poor woman in a
translates into it going away.
Who is stopping it? I think we are going unnecessarily over there. Who is stopping you to study?
That.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? You cannot put the words into my mouth. You must understand, we are only talking about the women working in the working position.
But what Shazia is saying is that if you're not allowed to work,
then why do you have the girl? Please answer me. Why do you have the girl school at all? Why don't you have scrap all the girls? They have been opened not only by Muslims. They have the girls exclusively the girls school. We have the school girls colleges also. Why do you have it?
No,
why do you have it?
Do we imagine a world where, do clerics want women to just disappear into...
No, but answer my this question.
These are really issues not worth getting into. I'm sorry. This is a waste of time for the media, and the Muslim women are not really, inclined to change their positions overnight by their fatwa. I think the media and the scholars should really be focusing on other problems of the Muslim community, because we are very, very backward. But
which is why, but
we
hang on,
need to guide them into betterment of society.
No, but one of the touchstones of human development is the welfare of the woman.
Yes,
is the empowerment and rights of the woman.
You educate a family.
Talk of the touchstone of the welfare of the is the development of the woman. I just want to make one point.
Yeah.
Okay, India in a democracy, the parliament is the biggest institution, and in the last Lok Sabha, that was in 2005. there was only one Muslim woman elected member of Lok Sabha. That was from Bahraich. That was one ma'am, Rubab Saeed. And a delimitation commission of this country, which had no Muslim members, reserved that seat as a SC seat. So
that's a political discussion, Mr. Hussain. We're not getting into that at the moment.
When you talk about the highest institution that women cannot be a fighter pilot, at least she can be a member of parliament, give her the best position.
Please look at the graphic we're playing. The work participation rate of rural Muslim women is only 20%, against 37% for Hindus. That's the work participation rate of Muslim women.
Why? Please give one more graphic about the instances of the female feticide among the Muslims.
It is the same case with male also. It is happening with the male members also.
But then why should there be an ideological boost to women not working?
No, it is not because they are women. It is because the Muslims in general are educationally backward, both men and women. So we must. There are hundreds and thousands reasons.
Why don't we have a fatwa saying that, you know, like the Prophet's, tradition, that education is incumbent on every Muslim. It does not make a distinction between women and men. But we should have more fatwas really encouraging women to go out and study and to learn.
We should tell that to the Deoband Seminary, because in fact the Deoband Seminary is the one that's coming up with the fatwas.
But you know, many Islamic nations with their national airlines have air hostesses and they're not wearing burqa and they're serving. If you look at Libya, which is well, not an Islamic state, de facto dictatorship, but has 97% Muslims, and the official religion is Islam, has conscription. They enlisted women along with the men.
The best example is Malaysia.
Look at Indonesia.
So why didn't you respond to that?
I'm responding. She's talking about Libya, which is absolutely not an Islamic country. It absolutely cannot be compared.
Islam
if you at all have to
say
Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia, say Malaysia, and then tell me.
Indonesia elected a woman president, Megawati Sukarnoputri.
They have the hijab. They have the hijab.
Not all of them wear hijab, and it's optional. Not all of them wear hijab.
No, but let us not get into it. What I'm trying to tell you is,
and even without a hijab, you could get a job. There is no fatwa about
and nobody can stop you. Nobody can stop you the job if you are in hijab. Nobody can stop you.
No, but they might. We have to know, but we have to be pragmatic. If you're going to insist that the Muslim woman can only work in hijab, she can only work in burqa, it might